Some horses have more aptitude to work cattle. Any horse can work a cow. Some horses enjoy it more, some are easier to train to do it, some physically it's easier for them to do. The things that influence this are bloodlines. Certain bloodlines, horses have been bred over the years to want to work cattle, like border collies have in the dog world. The little peppy lines, you know, Docalina, all those horses that have a tremendous amount of cow are going to be easier to train as cow horses. Conformation is very important. The easier it is for a horse to do something, the more they're going to want to do it. So if a horse is low to the ground, short cannon bones, you know, the hocks are set low, big rear end, enough neck to allow the horse to balance. These things all make that job a lot easier and make a horse want to do it more. So these are beginning steps. This is the foundation that we need to put on any horse, be it a colt or an older horse that's just never worked cattle, to enable you to continue and make your horse a cutter or make it a cow horse or make it a team penner. This tape is for the foundation. It's for all the problems that are going to come up during that time when you're laying those first foundation steps. They say that habits are built in a horse. They start like cobwebs, they end like cables. We want to be sure that these cobwebs, these threads that we're trying to put together, become very, very strong foundation for whatever discipline we choose to continue on with our horse. The basic foundation that a horse needs to have before you start them on cattle is to be able to stop, back straight. The horse should be able to turn right on its hock, and the horse should be able to turn left on its hock. You should be able to move your horse away from leg pressure to the left. You should be able to move your horse away from leg pressure to the right. Really, really basic stuff. If you have any problems with any of this, if you go back to the Magic Bag of Tricks and More Magic, all these exercises are covered on those tapes. But if a horse can't do those very basic things, then it's really hard to put it together on a cow. We can use the cow to help solidify all of these things on our horse, because the cow gives the horse a reason to have to stop and have to turn. It's not just you always telling the horse, stop, turn, stop, turn, stop, turn. The cow starts to do it to the horse and gives them a reason to want to move and to stop and to turn and to do all those things. So it's, even if you were going to make just a straight reining horse, it's good to work him on cattle. The choice of cattle that I will use, I'm not going to use fresh cattle on a horse that's just beginning, because he doesn't need to be exposed to anything wild or that's going to move too quickly for him. I want him to get confident. So as I cobble together sets of cattle throughout the year, I usually work my horses that are more advanced on the cattle when they're fresh. And then after they've been worked maybe a week by the more advanced horses, we work round pen style on the younger horses. That way the cattle are more gentle. They give the horse reassurance and confidence that they can actually control a cow. By the time they get what I call completely used up, they no longer honor a horse. A horse can step right in front of them and they'll just blow right through them. That's no good for any kind of horse. That doesn't teach a young horse the confidence that he needs, that he can control and dictate to a cow, and it doesn't help a broke horse feel any better about himself as a cow horse either if he can't control a cow and keep it from getting back to the herd. So by the time they get to that place, then we go ahead and switch cattle again. So when I introduce a horse to a cow, I'm going to allow my horse to just walk right up behind this cow, and when it moves, I'm going to try to go wherever the cow goes. I'm not going to try to stop the cow. I'm not going to try to work the cow. I just want my horse to acknowledge that there's a cow in the arena and that he's going to kind of have to do what it does. And I'm going to get behind it a little bit and I'm going to drive it around a little bit. This is called trailing a cow. A lot of people do this for quite a while, and I really don't. I'll do this for a day or two where I just kind of get my horse to acknowledge that there's a cow in here. If it trots, I'll trot. Just kind of go wherever it goes. I want to keep everything relaxed, quiet. It stops, I stop. It starts to move to the right. I do too. But more than anything, I'm just kind of following this cow around and letting see my horse is starting to acknowledge it a little bit. Now, he's a stud, and at some point I'm sure that he's going to reach out and try to take a bite out of that cow. And if he does that, I'm going to have to punish him for it, because we can never let behavior like that, aggressive behavior, be a good thing. To have a good cow horse is not to have an aggressive horse that wants to attack a cow and intimidate it, but one that's inquisitive and curious and enjoys kind of playing a game, because this is much more like a cat playing with a mouse than trying to really dominate a cow. So after I've trailed a cow around like this for, maybe a day or two, and my horse acknowledges that there's a cow in the arena, I'll go ahead and start allowing my horse to come up beside the cow. So when the cow moves to the right, I'm going to allow my horse to come up beside it a little bit and stop when the cow stops and sit. There's going to be lots of time when we're just sitting, so you need to learn to be patient. The horse needs to learn to be patient. If my horse was really antsy right now and wanting to do something, I'd make him sit even longer. But since he's happy to sit here, I'll go ahead and squeeze him right back up to the flank again and go the same way and come back up beside the cow again a little bit and stop. Now, if I want to change the direction of the cow, I'll squeeze my horse up around the front of it a little. And when the cow turns, I'll let my horse come up beside it and stop. And sit and relax. What he learns by doing this is that he's the cause of that cow moving. And that when the cow stops, when he gets in a position of control and the cow stops, he gets to stop and rest and get fussed over. We want to teach him this position right here. This is really, really important. So if I was back here, I'd be teaching him that this was the correct position of control. This cow's going to stop anyway, so but this position would not stop a normal cow. And I don't want him thinking that this would be the position to control this cow. I want him to learn that this is the spot right here like this. So I'm going to make him get in this spot every time. If he gets too far past that spot and he's out here, I'm going to make him stop and back up and release him right here. So in other words, I'm making what I want easy and comfortable. When he's here, he's good, life is good. If he's too far past it, I'm going to make him stop and back up. If he's too short, is what we call it, when they stop too soon, I'm going to kick him up to this spot and stop him. It's always going to be the same spot, right here where he's controlling the cow. And pretty soon, they learn where that spot is, and you can kick and kick, and you can't hardly kick them past one. Okay, so once I've worked my horse on a single cow like that, then I'm going to put 4 or 5, 6 cows in the middle of my arena, and I'm going to work around the outside of the small herd in the middle. I'm going to cut one cow, and I'm going to do exactly what I was doing when I was working the single cow in here, but there's going to be a small herd in the middle, and it's going to require more maneuvering on my horse's part and on my part to control that cow. But the good thing is that the cattle actually work better because they want to return to the herd. And you get your horse broker because you have to maneuver around the cattle that are in the middle of the pen. We want to be sure we haven't shortcutted working the single cow. I just sort of did for the sake of the video, and he really is too green to work around and round like we're going to, but that's what you need to see. You need to see kind of what you have to do for those first few times that you do go round and round. Now once again, let me reiterate, the cattle are going to be in the middle, and if I drew a line out from the middle of the pen, not necessarily where the herd is, but from the middle of the pen, out to the cow I'm working, I want to be kind of on that line somewhere. I don't want to be way behind my cow, and I don't want to be way in front of it. When we're first getting our horses started though, we're going to be back a little bit. Okay, we're going to be back and aimed up at the flank of the cow just a little bit. And right now, since he's nice and relaxed, I've got my reins in one hand. I'm just kind of letting him know that nothing real exciting is happening here. As much slack as I can, whenever I can, is what I'd like to do. Now I've got one cow. Cow moves, we move. Now I'm a little bit behind my cow. I'm a little behind that line I was telling you about. But because the horse is real green, we're going to be behind that line somewhat. I want to keep him kind of aimed up at the cow's flank and just be moving around the pen with the cow, stopping when it stops, moving when it moves, stepping out to it, picking it back up again, stopping when it stops. Now if the cow goes out toward the fence like this, I stop. Anytime the cow changes direction, I stop. Then I'll redirect my horse. I don't want to start kind of wallering up on top of the cow like that. I always want to stop whenever the cow changes direction. You can never have too much stop on your horse, so whenever you get the opportunity, see, he doesn't want to get in very, very close with those cows. I stop. Now if I wanted this cow to turn, I just allow my horse to step in front of it just a little bit like this, just like I did when there was a single cow in here, and then let him pick up the flank again of this cow and go around with it. Remembering that we're at the baby stages right here, I'm not going to try to move him across the cow quickly yet. That would kind of intimidate him at this point. It would make him a little bit nervous. He would start to anticipate. He wouldn't let the cow draw him through the turn. I need to use my left leg here to keep moving him off the cow because I don't want to get what I call on the other side of the cow. If I couldn't move him away from the cow, I would have come up behind the cow or on the other side of the cow, and I don't want to do that. I want to teach him that I always want him to be on the side of the cow between the cow and the herd. And whatever it takes to do that, I would do. So we're just doing a lot of stopping, starting, releasing the reins whenever we can. I'm not punishing him. I'm not intimidating him. The beauty of the round pen is that he can't hardly lose this cow. Even if this cow crashes into the herd, I can still come up through the herd with the same cow that I had. So he gets thinking he's just a pretty doggone good cow horse by doing lots and lots of this, and that's what you want, a lot of confidence in your horse. See, he's starting to kind of use his ears a little bit. He's starting to get his head and neck down a little bit lower. The cow just pulled him through that turn really nice. He's starting to get the idea that this is a game, that it's fun, that there's a cow here, that we're going to get in the position of control and move around the pen with the cow. And that's exactly what we want.